Hi everyone, welcome back to the Let's Be Real podcast. I'm your host Rejo, and if you're listening for the first time, welcome. If you have listened before and you're a returning listener, welcome back. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought, but I'm back now. So yes, welcome to the podcast. I hope everyone's doing good and having a nice day and all of that beautiful stuff. So, without further delay, I'd love to get right into the episode. And today's topic is about music. And it's something that plays such a central role in our lives. Like, if you think about the major events in life that we experience, like, guaranteed there's going to be music. Like, if you think of a birthday party, you got to get the vibe right. And we use music to do that. Or even if you go to a mall, like, especially if it's like a trendy store for young adults, there's going to be music there because, it just gets us in that mood. And, music just has a way of setting the atmosphere or the tone of whatever space that we're in, even in like family or at family events. That's always it's always gonna be there. And even like in the day to day of life, like if I think of my student life, like I'm in uni still. So, whenever I'm on campus, there's always someone with like headphones on, listening to music, like it's almost as natural as breathing. So, yeah, and I feel like it's such an expansive topic that I'm like, I don't even know where to start. But I'll start with the different genres, the lots and lots of genres that are out there. And what I find interesting is that the genres that we listen to, I feel like they give us insight into our personality and other people's personality as well, based on the songs that they like and the artists that they listen to and gravitate towards. Because for me personally, some of the genres that I absolutely love is deep house. Deep house is so good. And I feel like that speaks to how, for the most part, I'm pretty chill, easygoing. And I feel like that reflects um, that aspect of my personality. And another one I would say is electronic dance music or EDM for short. Like I really like that stuff. Like when I'm hyped up and I'm like, yes, I want to dance, I want to party, give me some EDM any day. So yeah, and also I really like Christian music, like Christian rap, worship music, and that obviously ties to my spirituality and, that aspect of my life. So yeah, there's also K-pop as well, which I would say I used to be a major fan like a few years ago. And the nice thing is we're not really limited to what we can listen to. Like no one can tell you, oh, don't listen to this genre or that genre. Like you can explore and dabble in different, music styles. So yeah, that is the nice thing where we can always discover new artists and all of that, which can be really fun as well. And I feel like one of the best things that can happen is like you just spontaneously discover a new song and you absolutely love it. Like that's the best. I mean, you just obsess over it for like a few days or weeks and then you get tired of it, which is that's pretty fun as well. So yeah, and in terms of exploring like different genres, I would say for me, I usually like it, but I feel like sometimes I want to strike that balance between the familiarity of my own curated playlist while also trying something new. Because sometimes when you just want to explore just in one go, it can be a bit overwhelming. And also, it can be a bit boring if you don't find that song that you really like. But at the same time, if you stick to your songs only, that also gets a bit boring and repetitive. So I feel like it's about, striking that balance and knowing when to dabble and when to just stick to what you know. And, music is enjoyable. And I would say it's a tool because, it's about how we use it. Because I know that sometimes we use music to either, I don't know, try and validate our emotions. Like, I remember I used to do this quite a lot. Let's say I was in my feels or like sentimental. Best believe I'm going to a playlist or a song that kind of captures how I feel in that moment. And I feel like it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just if you use that music to like stay where you are and, allow it to become part of your personality that now I'm a, sad girl. And now I listen to sad girl music with my sad girl playlist. Like, I feel like that's when it gets a bit too much. And that's what I stopped doing. So, yeah, I feel like there's a time and a place for it. Because, we won't always be happy and listen to happy songs all the time. Sometimes we want a song that will reflect our mood, which is valid, you know? And speaking of playlists, I would say I'm definitely a playlist girl. Like I said, based on different moods or vibes that I'm going for. Because also my music taste goes through different, seasons where I currently have a happy playlist where it's like how many songs are on there? I think like 5 to 6 like core songs that I listen to almost every other day just to, keep my mood in a good place and, just a fun playlist, right? But there will be times when let's say you're going through something really hard or difficult. Like last year, I lost someone who was very close to me. And so during that season, I guess more of the deeper songs, the slower songs, like not so fun and happy. So yeah, like I said, I think it depends on the season of life that we're in, and that kind of comes into play when we're choosing different songs and playlists and all of that. And I think playlists, apart from being, just a fun thing to do, it's also just very practical because, we want to wait, that's the wrong word, categorize different, I guess, genres, because if all our music is just in one place, it's a bit messy, So what I like to do, like I said, on the more practical sense, is curate a playlist for specific things. Let's say like a praise and worship playlist, and then a just vibing playlist, then a pre-party playlist, stuff like that. Just makes my life more, I guess, organized, right? And it's just easier for me to access certain songs when I want to. And I would also like to say, like in terms of music, it's fun to listen to our own songs in our own space and all of that. But I feel like it's even more fun when we're in a bigger setting. And this leads me to the next segment where we have music festivals and concerts. And speaking of which, I actually had to ask one of my older cousins, like, what's the difference actually between a music festival and a concert? And basically, he told me that a concert is mainly one artist, like let's say Justin Bieber coming to South Africa, which he really should do. That would be great. So that would be Justin Bieber concert. But a music festival is like ultra, where it's all these DJs from around the world and local ones as well, and they come together and create this musical experience. So yeah, if you didn't know, now you know. So yes, like I said, in terms of music concerts, I would love to go to more of them, like especially this year and in the years to come, because I've been to, yeah, I haven't been to that many to be honest, because I remember last year I went to an Easy Freak concert. They're like a South African duo. That was pretty cool and pretty fun. But like I said, I would love to go to more, and there's so many, like there's Cartoon Fest, and hey neighbor, milk and cookies, all of that. And not to say that I would necessarily go to all of them, because I feel like also with certain festivals, there's a certain vibe or a certain atmosphere, and depending on your personality or I guess preferences and your convictions, for lack of a better word, there will be ones that you gravitate towards and others that you try to avoid, because I guess some festivals and concerts are tied to a certain lifestyle as well. So, we also got to be a bit cautious with that. But like I said, it seems like such a nice experience, a day out, walking around, ideally with your friends. I feel like it makes it more fun because there's nothing wrong with going on your own. That's definitely really nice if you can do that. But some experiences are best experienced when they're shared. So, yeah, and I feel like festivals and concerts are definitely a part of that. So, yeah, like I said, personally, I would love to go to like Ultra. Like, guys, I've wanted to go to Ultra for the longest time. Like, even before I was allowed to, like, age wise, because I think you need to be 18 and above. So, maybe when I was like, I guess 16 ish, not even like way before, probably even like primary school, which is crazy, I know, but it just seems so cool. And like I said, the music that they played definitely appealed to me. And so I told myself that, as soon as I turn 18, I'm going to go to Ultra and it's going to be great. And guess what? I turned 18. I still haven't gone, but no, man, it seems like a really nice experience. And the funny thing is, where I live, without revealing too much, where I live, basically, I can low key see, the strobe lights and the music very faintly, so I'm pretty close to the venue as well, which is crazy. But, when the time is right, I guess it'll happen. So yeah, and also let me know in the comments, which festivals you guys would like to go to, and which ones you have gone to that were like really fun. I'd love to hear about it. Yeah, I feel like there's also a deeper side of things, you know. Like I remember I watched this video once, like a few years back, and basically in the video, the lady was explaining how music really affects us psychologically. Like, it's not just harmless lyrics and all of that. Like, if we expose ourselves to certain types of songs that perpetuate certain types of themes or lifestyles or anything of that nature, the more we repeat those words, those lyrics, we slowly but surely start to become what that music is, I guess, celebrating. Like for instance, no shade, by the way, like we all have different tastes, but just for instance, making an extreme example, let's say you like listening to rap music. Um, I feel like certain rap music, it sends a certain message and promotes a certain lifestyle. And if you constantly expose yourself to that, don't be surprised if you start to emulate, the music that you're consuming, right? Because that's what it is. Like anything and everything we consume, it affects us on some level, whether we realize it or not. And the extent to which it does depends on our exposure to it. So, yeah, I would just say we definitely should be mindful and cautious about the types of songs we listen to and how much as well, because it affects and shapes who we become and how we think. And we all know that how we think affects how we behave, and how we behave affects our character and the people we become. So we should keep that in mind. Because the tricky thing is it's very gradual. Like it's not like you listen to, a very ratchet or wild song one day and then the next day you wake up and you're also wild and ratchet. Like it happens over time. Like it has kind of a compounding effect. So just a little, piece of advice that we should be more cautious about the music we listen to. So yeah, it's never really just the song, it affects us more than we realize. And it goes back to what I was saying towards the beginning as well, where I was listening to, sad songs, sad pop. And the thing is, it sounds really nice. And it feels like, oh, I feel so heard and I feel so seen, all of that. But over time, it's not really beneficial to us and where we want to go in life. And, all this talk about music brings me to another aspect, which is sometimes we can overdo it. We can listen to too much music. I mean, of course, it depends on the person, like if you're in your teens, in your mid 20s, in your mid 30s, like it really depends on the stage of life that you're in, right? Because I feel like as young people, we use music like it's a very, what's the word? It's a very important aspect of our life, especially growing up, finding who we are. Or let's say you're settled and you're in your 40s and you're chilling, like, I feel like music isn't as, huge. It doesn't play as huge of a role in your life. At least that's what I think. Yeah, we can become a little overly dependent on music. I know I sometimes do that where I'll be listening to that playlist for hours and hours. Just to have that constant, I guess, noise in the background, which once again, maybe we could dial it down a little bit because sometimes we just need peace and quiet. Can't just be listening like the whole day. That also tires us out. So yeah, I will say that there is a need to just pause and enjoy life because as much as listening to music helps us to, I guess, it kind of takes us out of the place that we're in. Well, not place, but state. Like music, it kind of like transports you out of, like, do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, you're just in a different realm, really, when you're listening to music, and that's all nice. But sometimes we need to stay grounded once in a while and be like, okay, I've listened to the playlist. It was nice, but let's get back to reality and get back to work and all of that. But like I said, music is a tool. So maybe listening to music helps you lock in and be productive and get into a flow state. So it really depends on you as an individual. But I know for me, I occasionally just need to unplug, disconnect, just be quiet, maybe go outside, just listen to my own thoughts for a while, just to take a break from all of that. So, yeah, as I touched on earlier, given the importance of music, so to speak, it's good to be, I guess, mindful of the role that it plays in our own lives and to also like audit the kind of music that we allow to play in the background or, the music that we allow to be the soundtrack to our lives, so to speak, because it does create a certain atmosphere. And like I said, it shapes who we become. So, even me once in a while, there's certain songs that I will outgrow or just like, not really that person anymore, which is fine because we're constantly evolving, because there's certain songs that I listened to, let's say at the beginning of last year or 3, 5, 7 years ago that I'm not going to listen to today because that's just not where I'm at in life. So yeah, I would say allow your music taste to evolve as you also evolve as a person and grow, and try not to hold on to certain songs that may hold you back from entering into a new season. And you may be thinking like, oh, is it really that deep? Yes, it really is that deep. Just like anything, like the clothes we wear, the people we hang out with, the things that we think about and read about and consume, like everything of that nature. It changes as we grow, and so I feel like music is no different. So yeah, and like I said, it can also be, a source of fun and enjoyment and personal expression. You can just have fun with it. Maybe it isn't that deep. You can just vibe. Music is just music. We don't have to obsess over it or anything like that. Can we live without music? That is the question. That is the question. I wonder how long I've gone without listening to music, like intentionally. Um, yeah, that would be a very interesting challenge to see. Can you last a week without your playlist? That would be a very interesting experiment to do. Yeah, I guess that would require a lot of intentionality, yo. And I feel like it would be the most difficult, like on the weekend when you're chilling and people are going out and you're feeling that, no, man, I want to listen to my music. But yeah, that would be an interesting one. So yeah, I think the main thing though is just making sure we're always in control of the music that we listen to rather than the other way around, rather than the music we listen to being in control of us. You know, like I said, it works with many other things as well, like your clothing. Like, don't let, wait, how does the phrase go? I'm trying to think, but essentially, don't let your possessions own you. You should own your possessions. That's kind of the message I'm trying to relay here. Is that music? Sorry, music is just a tool, and you can choose how you use it, how much of it you want in your life, and what you'll use it for, and just its place and significance in your life. So yeah, but if you were to ask me, music is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Um, it's powerful as well. Like, there's certain songs that you listen to and feels like a part of you just heals, or like it warms your heart. And yeah, it's just beautiful. It's really beautiful. Um, and it's interesting to see that in the peak moments of our life, like I said, celebrations and parties and all of that, we go to music to make those moments even more special. But even at our lowest, when we're like going through it and I don't know, things are falling apart or something really bad or tragic just happened, even then we kind of go to music as a form of comfort or, reassurance or just finding solace in the words of someone else, that describes the situation that we're in even better than we ever could. So yeah, man, music is powerful, it's beautiful, and it's needed in life, it's needed in the world, and it definitely is a force for a lot of good. So yeah, that pretty much brings us to the end of today's episode. I personally enjoyed it. It was really nice just to think about the different ways that we relate to music and the role it plays in our lives and how it can be used as a way to express who we are and our personality. So, yeah, I would love to hear from you guys. You can comment below some of your favorite artists, favorite genres that you listen to on a typical day. Like I asked earlier, any concerts and music festivals that were your favorite that you would love to attend in the near future as well. Let me know. I want to hear about everything. Okay, so yeah, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. And yeah, this is me signing off. Until next time, stay real, stay tuned, and happy listening.